Story 1. Absolutely not. I have cats and I made a lifetime commitment to them. They will be with me until they die. I will not have someone around them who does not like cats. This is their house, and they deserve to have people who like them, if not love them, around. Story 2. I grew up in a religious Southern family in the Bible Belt, so most of the men had certain opinions about women. Another thing they had in common was that they hated cats. After living with my lovely feline companion for so long, disliking cats has become one of my deal breakers. In my experience, people who don't like cats often don't like it when others set boundaries, with obvious exceptions. I wouldn't have to worry about it anyway, as I'm very open about the fact that I view her as a separate being with basic rights. She even has her own private little bathroom. People who dislike cats also dislike me. Story 3. I would, but I am slightly afraid of cats since I was attacked twice as a child. One time, the cat almost blinded me. I understand that some people are cat lovers, but I will probably never be one. However, I would date someone who both likes and dislikes cats. Story 4. I always think it is strange when someone does not like an animal. I have 2 cats, so it probably would not work. I cannot imagine someone saying, I hate dogs, meaning all of them. Now, Story 5. I don't fault people for not liking animals or pets. Many people never grew up with them. Some are allergic to them or had bad experiences with relatives' pets. Pets require a lot of work to take care of. Story 6. I am not hiring or accepting applications at any time. However, if you do not like cats, you will not get my attention. Story 7. I would definitely want to know why. Is it because of allergies? Or is it just that cats scared them once? Cats can be difficult. How insistent is the presence of a cat in my life? I like my little furball, but I can also see the appeal of not having a pet. I have wanted a pet tiger for over 20 years. However, I say with certainty that I would never date anyone who insists on having a dog in the future. I like feeling safe in my own home and keeping my phobia and fear levels low. Story 8. Why not? Some people are allergic to cats. However, if a person does not like animals, that is a different matter. Story 9. No, I spent my whole life around people who hate animals. A cat could have done a lot for me, so I am not letting that be taken away again. Story 10. No, because I like cats and I want to have one. I have nothing against people who do not like cats, but it is a fundamental incompatibility. Story 11. I would. Having an aversion towards an animal does not mean that person is necessarily bad. It is similar to not liking a certain sport or food. Story 12. I am a person who does not like cats or dogs. I do not hate them and would never harm them, but I will not pet or touch them either. I did not grow up with animals inside houses or see them being hugged, kissed, or treated like part of the family. When any animal gets close to me, it makes me very uncomfortable and a little scared. Story 13. I don't like cats, so I would prefer not to have one. However, someone having a cat is not a deal breaker. I don't like them, but I would not want anyone to get rid of a pet just for me. I have a rabbit, and if my girlfriend did not like rabbits, that would be fine as long as she did not want me to get rid of him. She does not have to look after him. He is my pet. Story 14. I couldn't imagine my life without a cat in it. If you want me, you simply have to be a cat person. It just won't work otherwise. Story 15. I personally find it strange when people do not like specific pets or animals, but that is just because of how much I like them. I am not a huge fan of being around goats long term, but I do enjoy hanging out with some every now and then. So no, I would not because the lifestyle would not be compatible. Story 16. Absolutely not. I would not date someone who dislikes any animal. Fears are different from dislike. I am a package deal. I come with 2 cats. Story 17. Absolutely not. My cat is my emotional support animal and additional serotonin delivery unit. I need him. Story 18. No, I would not, but only because I am a cat lady and having cats is non-negotiable. I understand that not everybody likes them, but anyone I date will end up being around my cats and hearing me talk about them occasionally. If you do not like cats, this could cause issues. Story 19. Absolutely not. Cats have boundaries and enforce them. A man who does not like cats tends not to understand that and will most likely not respect my boundaries either. Story 20. I probably would not. I live with my parents and we have two cats. They must pass the vibe check of the furry masters of the household to be accepted. Story 21. If she does not get along with my cats, it is not going to work out. They have been in my life for years, and she has not. The cats have priority. Story 22. Nope. I am 64 and one constant in all my years is that people who do not like cats, and I am not counting people who are simply allergic to them, are by and large control freaks. Even more so if they say they love dogs but hate cats. They hate that cats will not obey them or love them unconditionally. Story 23. No, I have cats, and if this turns into something serious and at some point I am going to live with that person, I am not going to abandon my cats. Story 24. I think the cats require consent theory has some validity but is not a hard rule. Mostly, I have noticed that people who take their dog to public places off-leash are the ones who tell me they hate cats and that they are a dog person in that snide way, as if they just told you they were in the Peace Corps. I pay attention to how a person feels about other animals that are not dogs and go from there. Maybe they just had a bad cat experience at some point or did not grow up with one in the house, so they do not understand them. Cats are mysterious. I do not really like dogs for the same reason I like cats. I am a quiet person. I keep to myself and do not enjoy abrupt physical touch or loud noises. I have had several people say harshly judgmental things to me because I do not like dogs. Gather more data. Story 25. I would want to know why because maybe they were traumatized. I also understand everyone has a right to their preferences. However, I would consider it a potential incompatibility because in my life I have noticed that people who understand cats tend to be those I get along with better. Story 26. I dated someone who does not like cats, not because of an allergy, but because they do not understand how cats think. This is odd because I consider myself quite cat-like. My conclusion is that the reason people do not like cats is primarily based on misunderstanding. Most people who say they do not like cats because of judgmental reasons raise red flags for me, and I will not date them. Story 27. No. I have had cats my whole life, and they are family to me. I currently only have one, but she and I are a package deal. Besides, hating cats usually comes with a cruel, domineering, misogynistic streak. Those men are not safe. Story 28. Someone who actually dislikes cats? Absolutely not. Someone who does not want a pet cat because they simply do not want a pet? Maybe. Story 29. No, partially because I like cats and want to have cats, so the logistics if they hate or do not like cats are difficult, and partially because cats are very consent-focused animals. When I talk to people who actively hate cats, rather than just not liking them, it is usually because they want to interact with them like dogs, while cats often need more space and will retaliate if you try to force interactions with them in a way they do not consent to. The retaliation specifically is what makes those people so apathetic. There will be times when a cat is not comfortable being picked up or petted and wants to be left alone. Being annoyed that you cannot force that interaction is a huge red flag to me. Therefore, in addition to not wanting to date people who do not like cats, if someone actively hates cats, they are an immediate and emphatic no. Story 30. No, I have always had a cat. Cats are sweet, entertaining, loyal, and affectionate. I do not trust people who do not like cats. Story 31. Indifferent. People who think their dog has the right to be everywhere they are, absolutely not. Not everyone wants your cuddly dog, drooling, barking, or getting yelled at by you. Story 32. No, because I have a cat and I am not giving her up to anyone. The same applies to dates who are allergic. Story 33. No, I am allergic to cats, but I respect all animals. If someone made a big deal about disliking an innocent creature, we would not be compatible. Story 34. Yes, not liking cats does not mean we are totally incompatible. Some people are too shallow and reject others for really dumb reasons. Story 35. No. Hard stop. One of my biggest deal breakers. I just cannot see myself dating a person who did not like cats, dogs, or any other animal. I love animals, and my little cat, May May, brightens my life. I think how a person acts around animals, in this case cats, is a very telling litmus test of how gentle and patient a person is. My boyfriend won some major points early on when he came over for the first time, and my cat, who is very shy and slow to warm up, was almost immediately taken with him. He got down on the ground with her, spoke softly, and took his cues from her. I saw that and knew he was an empathetic and wonderful man. These days, May May frequently sleeps curled up between us. She is a good judge of character. Story 36. It's a big negative, but if they still like dogs, I could probably deal with it. It also depends on why. My ex-wife was allergic to cats, so we never got one. That's a perfectly legitimate reason to me. It wasn't that she hated cats. It was just that they made her feel sick. We did get a dog. But people who just hate cats? I honestly don't trust anyone who hates animals, at least not pet-type animals. I can understand if you hate wild snakes or spiders. Story 37. Willing to date someone? Yes. Willing to make it long-term and serious? No. I come with cats. End of discussion. If you are willing to learn to like cats, you will be considered on a trial basis. Not everyone has experience with cats, and that is okay. You may have never had the opportunity to bond with a cat. Now is your chance. Are you willing to try? Or are you snobbish, dismissive, and biased against cats from the start? If it ever comes down to you or the cats, know that cats will always be chosen over you. I have been catless exactly once in my life. It lasted 3 months before the next one found me and decided to move in. Story 38. It would depend on whether they were open to getting to know different cats. Maybe they had a bad experience or allergies. But if they were willing to give cats a chance, it could work. If they hated cats and didn't want to get to know my cat, then no, I don't think I can imagine spending my life with them. Even if we never had a pet, I don't think I could really get close to them because of how much I love my cats. Cats are a big part of my life, and I see and encounter them so much. I can't imagine sharing my life without cats. Story 39. Not if they were unnecessarily mean or evil towards them. On a first date with a man, he said he was not a cat person because his father had kittens that climbed all over him and scratched him, which made him not a fan. I had 2 cats, so I thought, we will see about that. 5 years later, I cannot go anywhere with that man for too long without him saying, I miss the cats. What do you think they are doing right now? I cannot wait to get home and see them. Story 40. I did date someone who did not like cats. It was a mistake I would never make again, but thankfully my husband likes cats, so I found a good one. When I was with my ex, we were at my house, and the family cat tended to play a bit too hard and bit me. I pulled my hand away from the cat and went to grab a toy to distract him. Before I could do that, my ex grabbed the cat by the scruff and pushed him down against the floor, yelling, No, no, bad. I should have told him to get out of my house. I regret not breaking up with him sooner than I did. Story 41. Disliking cats is a deal breaker. My cat and I come as a pair. I also consider it a major red flag regarding whether someone respects boundaries and understands consent, because that tends to be the problem people have with cats. Story 42. I would not completely rule it out, but disliking cats suggests to me they are either controlling, have difficulty respecting boundaries, or possibly both. Story 43. I love cats. My boyfriend does not, yet he respects them. Hating on an animal in general would be a turnoff for me regardless of the animal. Story 44. It would depend. If the person personally does not like cats, but it is not their whole personality and they are not toxic about it, then yes. If not, no. Story 45. I do not like dogs because when I was a child, I had one that jumped on me and scratched me. Therefore, I do not get dogs. Also, the hair is a problem to deal with. If that happens, then it is unfortunate, but that is just how it is. Story 46. Yes, because I am not a cat person either, but regardless, I do not think not liking an animal would be a deal breaker for me. Story 47. Sure, just because they do not like them does not mean they are cruel to them. I love my 4 cats, but cats do not live forever. You know? I am willing to compromise. You have to accept the cats I have now. All are older than 10. I am willing to not get any in the future, provided we are still together. I can get my fix by going to the local thrift shop and spending $50 for 3 hours with the kittens. We have a thrift shop in town owned by the Humane Society. They keep the kittens up for adoption in a little room with glass so you can see them. You can pay $5 to spend 20 minutes with the kittens, but they will let you go a little over. All the money goes toward the Humane Society, so it is totally worth it. Story 48. This depends on whether you are an animal lover or not. It does not bother me, but I know plenty of people who are allergic, so it is a deal breaker for them. Story 49. I would not date someone who does not like animals of any type. I can respect the concept of not wanting a pet, especially if lifestyle restricts being able to provide good care for one. But to not like cats or any other animal is a no for me. Story 50. I'm married now, but when I was single, I avoided men who did not like cats. There are exceptions for people who have had trauma or allergies, but for the most part, my experience is that men who do not like cats have a hard time fully understanding consent and autonomy, so I viewed it as a yellow flag. Also, I love cats and cannot imagine my life without one, so we would be pretty incompatible regardless. Story 51. My husband does not like cats for some reason. I love cats, but I am very allergic to them, so it is not a problem. Story 52. I do not care if you like cats or dogs. I do not have either, and it does not affect me. Story 53. No. I probably cannot have children, so cats are all I have. If I cannot even have that, then it is a deal breaker. Story 54. No, loving animals is in fact on the list of necessities to date. Intimate relations would not require that information, but admittedly, if it came up, I would leave. Story 55. I personally do not really want to own cats, but I still like them. If someone does not like cats at all, to the point where it is part of their personality, then they are probably not going to like many other animals, and that could be difficult. Story 56. I have dated 3 girls who did not like cats. Each of them ended up loving my cat, and 2 of them now have their own cat. Story 57. Yes. I am allergic to cats, so I will never have one. It would actually be convenient if I knew my partner would never want to get a cat. Story 58. I would, but only if they disliked them, not hated them. 5 minutes into a cuddle, they would change their mind and adore the cat. My friend and his father used to dislike cats, but a few months ago, they adopted a cat, and now they would do anything for her. Story 59. Depends on how much they dislike them. If they just do not particularly care for them, sure. I do have a cat, though, so if they hate them, it is just not going to work out. Story 60. It depends. If they are not a huge fan of cats and would not want one themselves or do not really want to interact with them, sure. There are plenty of potential reasons. Maybe they are allergic, had a bad experience, or just do not find them cute. If they hate cats, that is completely different. I do not understand people who strongly dislike an entire species of animal. I have never met a pleasant person who was like that. Story 61. Absolutely not. I adore cats and had 3 when I was last dating. It shows a fundamental incompatibility if they do not like cats or are allergic, so I did not want to waste anyone's time. Story 62. As long as they appreciate some kind of animal we can have for companionship, it is okay. They cannot be aggressive or nasty towards them. That is a deal breaker. Disinterest is perfectly fine, but maliciousness will not be tolerated in any form. The fiancé is allergic to cats, so we have 2 dogs, and that is perfectly fine. I do miss my cats on occasion, but we have friends with a cat, and she is not allergic. Story 63. My partner is not going to hate things based on biological inclusion in groups, or she is not going to be my partner. Story 64. I could, because I am more of a dog person. I do not have hatred towards cats, as I get along with just about any cat I have met. For me, because I have a lower immune system and have been told by my doctor not to touch or be around a litter box, I prefer not to have a cat in my living space. If a cat wants love and chin scratches, I absolutely give them that. Story 65. I am assuming this is aimed at cat owners. I am not. It would not faze me at all. I could not date someone who does not like dogs. Story 66. Yes, I would because I don't like cats either. Don't judge me for how you are judging other cat haters. I'm a nice person. Cats are super cute and cuddly, and I wish I could like them, but they scare me. Story 67. If they are not the biggest fan of cats but do not hate them, I would consider it. It depends though. I am not the biggest fan of spiders, but I treat them well and am nice to them. However, anyone who outright hates an animal is a no for me, including insects. I love insects. Story 68. Well, my husband does not like cats, but I have 4 cats right now. At one point, I had 5. I wish he shared the love I have for my cats, but he tolerates them as my children, and I love them, which is more than enough. Story 69. No, never. Cats are your favorite food. So a person who does not enjoy cats at least 3 nights a week is fundamentally incompatible with my life. Story 70. Probably not, but for obvious reasons. The people I know who despise cats really do, to the point that if one was on the side of the road, they would say, "Good." Granted, this is only 2 people of the hundreds I have known over the years, but there are not many cat haters here. Those individuals who hated cats act more like sociopaths, so no thanks. I do not want to date a sociopath. Story 71. It depends on the reason the person does not like cats. Some people dislike them for no reason, but I have found that most people who do not like cats have had bad experiences because they expected cats to act like dogs. Cats and dogs have very different body language. A wagging tail on a dog is usually a good sign, whereas a wagging tail on a cat is a sign that the cat is angry. People who do not understand this believe that cats will attack them out of nowhere, but the cat was probably giving clear signs of distress, and they just did not understand that. In short, if the person dislikes cats for no reason, no. If they are wary of cats because they do not understand them, maybe. Story 72. No, I could not stand to live without a pet cat, especially the cat I have now. No one is going to make me give her up. Story 73. Yeah, I don't own a cat. I love cats and I have always been suspicious of people who don't, especially those who hate cats, but it is far from a deal breaker. I am more concerned with human bigotry. Story 74. Whether or not someone likes cats does not affect whether I date them. I will respect their opinion. On that note, I do not like dogs. If she can accept that or feels the same way, then maybe we are meant for each other. If she cannot accept it, then she can move on to someone else. One of my most important requirements in a relationship is honesty. I will not judge what she likes or dislikes, and I expect her not to judge my opinion. Story 75. Yes, I'm a dog person, and I'm not fond of cats, except the one between a girl's legs. My earliest memory is me arguing with my uncle's cat when I was a kid. That cat did not like me. Story 76. No way. First, I often read them as callous and self-centered. Second, there will never be a day in my life when I do not have a cat. Story 77. When I was still single, that would have been a major green flag. I do not like cats. My wife is severely allergic to them, so it works out. Story 78. I like cats, but my mother does not, so I cannot have one. When I move out, I will get a cat for sure. If others do not like cats, they cannot be around me on principle. Story 79. No, because I am married and my husband would not like it if I dated someone else. Also, I have 2 cats. Story 80. I prefer that. I am allergic, so if we became serious, then getting a cat would not be an issue down the road. Story 81. I do not trust people who dislike cats. Something about them is wrong. If someone wants to date me, they will have to at least tolerate cats. Story 82. That is a deal breaker. I spend half of my day talking about cats. I cannot exclude someone I am dating from half of my day. Story 83. Yes. I am highly allergic to cats, so I do not date women who have them or go to the houses of friends who have them. I actually prefer they do not bring that toxic fur into my place either. We can hang out outdoors. Story 84. No. It would be a compatibility problem big enough to make dating a waste of everyone's time. I do not consider a home complete without a cat or 2, and they have total run of the place except for counters and tables. I could never be happy with someone who felt differently, and they would never really be happy with me. It is not enough for two people to really like each other if they do not want the same kind of life. Story 85. No, cats are my favorite animals. I have two cats, and I will probably adopt some once I am on my own. I could not live normally without my cats, and I would not want someone who dislikes them to have to deal with them. Story 86. Of course, I do not mind cats, but I do not necessarily like them either. I strongly dislike dogs, so I could never date someone who plans to get a dog later in life. Story 87. Absolutely not. My cats are my family, and they rely on me. I will not choose between them and another person. Story 88. I do not care if they do not like cats as long as they like at least mine. If not, no, because I am not giving her up. She has been here longer, and rehoming her would be more painful. Story 89. No. If they do not like cats, that means they do not like or respect boundaries and consent. Cats are all about boundaries and respect. I understand not wanting one because I am highly allergic, so I will never have one. However, they are very cute creatures. Story 90. My cat is my baby. If you do not like my daughter, you cannot be in my life. Sorry, not sorry. Story 91. It would not bother me because I would not have any pets in my house to begin with. That part is another discussion for another day. Story 92. No, because I will always have at least one cat. I love cats, and no one will ever make me not have them in my home. Story 93. No, not at all. People who do not like cats or have a tendency of cats not liking them tend to not practice consent and boundaries. Also, cats are my favorite animal. So there is that too. Story 94. Absolutely not. My cat is 20 and still zooming. She is going to be 30 eventually. I have to plan long term. Story 95. If they have a dog, then they should meet all the other criteria because it is a big commitment to live with one. Story 96. No, because I have two, and they are the absolute best thing in my life. I do not date just for the sake of it. I am trying to move in together, and I am not letting someone live with me and my cats who will not give them the love they deserve. Story 97. My best friend used to hate cats because one cat of her mean ex-friend drank from her mug. Recently, she adopted a kitten whose family moved away and left it alone. Story 98. They will have to change their mind because my future apartment will be full of cats. Fortunately, my boyfriend loves them too. Story 99. Yes, because I am a dog person and I never grew up with any pets. My parents were very pragmatic and viewed pets as another bill they would have to pay. Story 100. If someone is scared of cats because of a past experience and is willing to work on it, that is understandable. Otherwise, not liking cats is a red flag for me because I love cats. Story 101. I have a severe cat allergy. Therefore, cats are deal breakers. I do like cats, but prolonged exposure causes anaphylaxis, itchy skin, watery eyes, and difficulty breathing. Story 102. As long as the other person does not have cats or wants some, I do not care. I like them but cannot stand the hair everywhere. Story 103. Someone who is indifferent, sure, but not someone who actively dislikes them. I understand some people just are not fans of cats and have no ill will against them, but I have a cat and she is my entire world. She will always come first. I would not want someone who cannot at least pay her no mind and respect her habits. Story 104. I do not want pets, so it is not a deal breaker. However, if he hates cats and loves dogs, then it is a little unusual. Unless he was hurt by a cat, had to live in a household with a cat, or is scared of cats. It is okay to dislike an animal, but full-on hatred is too much. I like animals in nature, and that is it. Story 105. Dislike. Sure. Hate is a red flag. I personally do not like having pets, so it would not bother me if someone did not like cats. However, I love animals and respect nature, so if someone hates animals, I do not want to be with that person. My husband loves cats but has never taken care of one on his own. So I said early on that if he gets a cat, it will be his sole responsibility. We fostered one. It is a lot of work. Story 106. No. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and lifestyle, but if I am dating someone, they need to be compatible. I would not want someone to have to tolerate being around cats for my sake, and I could never give up cats for theirs. My cats are like my babies, and it is their house too. Everyone has to get along. Story 107. Probably not. I have always had pets or stray dogs and cats running around the neighborhood where I grew up. I got used to interacting with them, so I do not think I could get along with someone who does not want them around. Story 108. Yes, because I don't like those people as well. I had to deal with 2 cats growing up that were absolute troublemakers. I just recently met the first well-behaved cat ever, but it didn't change my opinion. Story 109. I would not, because I have a cat and I plan to have more once this one passes on. He is very much an only child and likes all the attention on him, so I would like a partner who also likes cats so we can have cats together. Having a partner who does not like my cat feels cruel to the cat in a way. Story 110. You don't like cats? What will you not like next? Pasta, puppies, music, photography, paintings, dance, food? The nice thing about cats is that if there is one you don't like, they will leave you alone. People who are averse to pets are likely not worth our time. Am I scared of dogs? Sure, unless we know each other. If there is an allergy, it could be a dating problem. If there isn't, it is not biological, it is psychological. Keep looking for your next date. Story 111. For what it is worth, I have heard that you should tell your children to never date someone who does not like cats. The reasoning is that cats are a model for consent. Cats are independent and require consent before being touched. If someone does not like cats, it can be a red flag indicating someone who does not respect consent for touching. They may have a good reason for not liking cats, but it requires further explanation and exploration before entering a relationship. Story 112. No. Not because I think it makes them a bad person. They can have whatever opinions they want. We would just not be compatible. I have a lot of cats and have done rescue in the past and may again in the future. There is no life with me that does not include cats. It would be unwise for someone who does not like them to want to date me in the first place. Story 113. Yeah, I will, but I guess that's only because I don't have a strong connection with cats. I guess I am more of a dog person. Story 114. I would never date someone who does not like any animal. An allergy is more than fine, even a genuine phobia, but to just not like an animal without reason is a red flag to me. I do not trust anyone who does not like animals. Story 115. I am allergic to dogs but love dogs. I am much more allergic to cats and find them unappealing in comparison. I really do not like feral cats, though. They are a huge problem here. Story 116. My wife and I dislike our cat. We love our dog, though. Neither of us are cat people. The cat belongs to my daughter. Story 117. In my many years of experience, men who said they hated cats had issues with control. Cats are independent and not easily controlled. If they hate that, it implies they do not like women who are independent and not easily controlled. Story 118. Some people do not like cats until one lives in their house. Speaking for my father, because my mother does not care that he is allergic. Story 119. I have had a cat. The smell of cat urine lingers for a long time. People can tell when someone owns a cat. It is understandable if someone does not want to date a cat owner. Story 120. Only if the cat was spayed or neutered, was an indoor cat, and the person did not treat the cat like a person. I would also prefer if the cat had an unpleasant personality, but that is asking a lot. Story 121. No. My cats were here first. Also, understanding and respecting a cat's boundaries is an example of understanding consent. Story 122. Yes. I hate cats. I'm not going to harm them or anything. They're cute, but they're unpredictable little clawed creatures, and I don't like being around them. Oh, please scratch my head. Yes, purr. That's lovely, thank you. Nuzzle, nuzzle. Time's up. Now I'm going to scratch you hard. Also, cat owners never have just one cat. It starts with one, then they need someone to play with, and before they know it, they have 20 and don't understand why someone wouldn't want to live in a whole pride. Story 123. Babs, just look in the mirror for a minute. Your body is the rarest genetic mutation that has ever existed. The public is not for you. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.